Hi there. In this lecture we see Mikhail Tal against Georgy Ilivitsky in 1953. So this was the third Soviet team championship. E4 from Tal. We have the Sicilian defense. Knight f3, d6, d4, c takes, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3, knight c6, and we get the Richter-Elza system of attack with this early bishop g5 here. E6, queen d2, bishop e7, white castles queenside, black castles kingside, f4, knight takes d4, queen takes d4, queen a5, and here there's a very interesting decision by Mikhail Tal, which perhaps actually doesn't result in a big attack or anything, but just a small advantage, it seems. Tal plays e5. We see d takes, and here white does actually have to tread carefully. There is a kind of disconnection on this first rank. It turns out here, if Tal plays f takes e5, can you see what black actually plays here and ends up getting an advantage? Okay, rook d8, yeah, this is really kind of annoying. If queen f4, rook takes d1 check, and what is white actually doing here? There's ideas on taking like knight d5 and queen takes a2 after. So if king takes d1 is really the move, then this situation after knight d5 is very, very annoying. Knight takes, queen takes. You can see that black is going to get the upper hand here. So for example, just to take this a bit further, this situation, white dare not take on d5 because of e5 being weak, and black's arranging bishop c6, and things get nasty, for example here, or if white doesn't want to take off the queens, then even worse, queen d4, and there's nasty things here, like bishop e4, and it's difficult to actually do something about rook c8. If bishop c4, bishop takes g2, so you can see that actually this is actually kind of a dangerous situation with this rook d8 lurking. So Tal actually plays queen takes e5, and you might think this is a bit strange, but yeah, the reason is there. It seems to be one of the better moves in the position, just to get the queens off here in the light of rook d8. So we have the queens coming off, knight d5, bishop takes e7, knight takes e7. So here, bishop d3, knight c6, rook he1, rook d8, and now a very, very interesting move which does actually push for an advantage. So for 100 points here, what would you play with white? Okay, this d-file can work both ways. I think that's the point here. And b4 tries to lure the knight away from d8. Bishop d7 is played. If knight takes b4, then the point is for 50 points. Yeah, bishop takes h7 check, and we'd be winning the rook. So after b4 we have bishop d7, and now b5, so less pressure on e5 now. Knight a5. Again, this bishop h7 holds for knight d4. We just play bishop takes h7. So for example here we're just taking that pawn out. There's no backfire here. We can take and protect the rook. There's no backfire. So knight a5. We see knight e4, rook ac8. Knight d6, rook c5. And here bishop e4. So a very good move in the circumstance. King f8 is played. If rook takes e5, then again bishop takes h7 is the situation there. If b6, then rook f1 is actually interesting. For example here, knight b7, and then rook takes d7. This leads to a situation which is a pleasant, very pleasant advantage for white. So okay, king f8 was played, but now knight takes b7. And actually, black was generous enough to resign here, even though black might not be that much worse. Maybe it was a little bit premature. One of the key points is if knight takes, bishop takes, then black cannot take on b5. If rook takes b5, then there's bishop c6. winning material because of that pin against d8. So here, you know, for example, just taking that. And there is a tactical idea though, which might be better in rook b1 check here. Sorry, just to make that clear, rook takes b5. If bishop c6, there's a rook b1 check, but it's going to be the exchange down. This little trick is just the exchange down though, so white is still better there. However, in this position on knight takes, bishop takes, let's imagine king e7. Is black actually lost here? So there is pressure now on b5. That's an unpinning move, protecting d8. If a4, then rook b8, and here that magic of the c file is actually interesting to gain a key tempo here on c2. And for example, rook d2, rook c4. So a4 is weak. If rook e4 taking rook c4, and if black gets back a pawn, this starts to be a little bit. Is it definite that white's winning? White seems to persist with a positional advantage. For example, here, it's an interesting situation where, you know, white has that passed pawn, but if bishop takes g2, actually white has to play pretty precisely to be able to convert this position. For 100 points, what would you play here? Okay, the key move would be king c3 to try and get to a5. For example, king d7, king b4, king c6, king a5. If king b7, bishop takes h7. So this is one line where white can actually prove a big advantage. For example, like this, and then the d6 pawn is kind of winning. If we go back here and have a look at this again, and yeah, we have to go for bishop takes h7 here, because if c5, it turns out actually black can turn the tables a bit with king c6. So there are tricks in this end game. If king takes a6, then black can play this, king takes c5, sack the bishop, and then e5 is going to be weak soon to be picked off. So yeah, it's not like an easy clear-cut endgame position in some respects. I know this is quite distant from the final position of the game, but just for the record, you might think these two connected passed pawns, but they really need an aggressive king, it seems, with king c3. So yeah, basically, bishop takes g2 would be a mistake, but yeah, on king d8, then we do head for a5 with the advantage, basically through some of the patterns just mentioned. So with bishop takes h7 in mind when g2 drops. So yeah, it is an interesting position, but yeah, black was pretty generous in the resignation in the game. So if we go back to the end of the game, yeah, knight takes b7. It's not all that easy when black has that Sicilian c file, and these pawns might, there's a duality to them. They can be sometimes a bit overextended. Okay, so interesting game with the interesting queen e5. Some takeaway points there, I believe, for how to play against the Sicilian defense. Thanks so much. Hi there. Thanks for getting to the end of the YouTube video. If you would like to see other Mikhail Tal games, I actually have an amazing course for Mikhail Tal, which is currently at 4.9 with over 400 students. You can check this out from the Kingscrusher TV page. So Chess Strategy and Tactics, Mikhail Tal's amazing games. You can check out some free preview videos as well here. If you do expand all sections, you can see the preview links to get some free previews. So I hope you do check out this course index and the free previews. So I really had a thrilling time actually checking out Mikhail Tal's games. So yeah, the YouTube video here you saw was just a sample from this course. I hope you check it out. Okay, thanks so much. Oh, by the way, comments, questions, likes, shares, all appreciated. And if you did get to this part of the video, please do leave some sort of comment like Tal fan. Okay, thanks again.